you want to change the direction, we give therapy with upward direction in lines.
आपकी यूनिकनेस आपकी है. It's just that slight changes can make a better thing.
प्रेशर से एक इंसान का ब्लड फ्लो भी समझ में आता है. Is this person healthy? Is he suffering from any issue? Is there any disease? Disease is like a state of unease. If you're at ease, you're okay. If you're at unease, you have a disease. I did this research.
सो गाइज, आज की जो गेस्ट है ना वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा अनोखी है, क्योंकि वो सिर्फ अपने हैंड राइटिंग से, लोगों के हैंड राइटिंग से, सिग्नेचर से, वो लोगों की पर्सनैलिटी, लोगों के बारे में बहुत कुछ बता देती है. सो वेलकम रितु इन द पॉजिटिव टॉक्स. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आपको आज कॉन्वर्सेशन में बुला के.
Thank you so much, Sahil. Thanks a lot.
सो बिफोर स्टार्टिंग एक चीज़ तो मुझे बोलनी पड़ेगी. यू आर लुकिंग ब्यूटिफुल.
Thank you.
या सो अभी डायरेक्ट कॉन्वर्जेशन पे जाते हैं, क्योंकि पीपल आर वेटिंग, पीपल आर वेरी क्यूरियस टू नो अबाउट ये हैंड राइटिंग से सिर्फ लोगों के बारे में इतना कुछ कैसे जान सकते हैं. सो यस, टेल मी अबाउट कि सिर्फ हैंड राइटिंग से, सिर्फ सिग्नेचर से लोगों के बारे में इतना कुछ कैसे पता लगता है.
So I'll just give you a basic example.
Yeah.
आप साइन करते हो और अगर आप स्क्रिबल करते हो and you sign in a document where 500 other people have signed, will you be able to identify your signature?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
You will, right? Because
Yeah.
it's so unique to you. So any piece of graph, handwriting, signature, it's very unique to that person. और उस इंसान को पता होता है. And it talks about a person's mindset. Every person's mindset is so unique. It comes on the paper. So that uniqueness is what we analyze. And we try to understand the person's thought patterns, that what are they thinking, what is it that distinguishes them from other people, and that gets imprinted on the paper.
Okay. So by handwriting, by drawing, एक बच्चों के पर्सनालिटी के बारे में कैसे पता लगता है? तो बच्चों के माइंडसेट के बारे में कैसे पता लगता है? लाइक एन वेरी स्मॉल किड, क्योंकि वो तो लिख नहीं सकते, तो उनके बारे में आप कैसे पता करते हो?
बच्चों का डेवलपमेंट बेसिकली 4 to 7 years में ना लैंग्वेज डेवलपमेंट चालू होता है. दैट्स व्हेन दे लर्न अबाउट कलर्स, दे लर्न अबाउट शेप्स. सो विद देम वी डोंट जेन्युइनली प्रेफर लाइक हैंडराइटिंग, क्योंकि दे आर स्टिल लर्निंग. तो जो आता नहीं करते, बट वी गिव देम कंट्रोल ड्राइंग. अगर मुझे कोई बच्चे का एनालिसिस करना है, यू नो, बिकॉज बहुत सारे किड्स डिस्टर्ब रहते हैं. सो इफ आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज इट एग्जैक्टली व्हिच इज डिस्टर्बिंग द चाइल्ड, सो वी गिव देम a blank piece of paper, and we give them a control drawing. We give them certain elements to work with. That okay, take a sun, mountain, river, draw humans. And then we give them crayons that like, you know, draw and color this. So in 30 minutes उनका जो drawing बनता है, उससे वो बच्चे के बाद में सब कुछ समझ में आता है. That like, you know, some kid is going through a lot of, he's seeing a divorce happening in his house. तो you know वो center में होगा, and mother and father थोड़े अलग रहते हैं. Also till 7-8 years, you know, when kids are making pictures of scenery, so you'll see कि उनके parents पे ज़्यादा emphasis होता है, because उनका full all-round development हुआ नहीं होता है. The brain is not fully developed. So for them, because they are so dependent on their parents, उनके parents उनकी पूरी दुनिया होती है. तो अगर उनके घर का environment समझना है, so the way they've drawn their house, the way they make their parents, whether they are smiling, whether they are together, whether the kid is crying, so you understand the child's mindset.
Okay. So by removing drawing का कोई figure, specific figure, कुछ specific चीजें बताता है, मतलब because a child cannot draw properly, parents का drawing and all. So
the child cannot draw properly, लेकिन you know मोटा मोटी जो भी वो बच्चा बना रहा है, तो एक आइडिया आ जाता है कि whether he's trying to portray a happy picture or a sad picture, or is there any element in that drawing which is disturbed. तो वो disturbance से समझ में आता है that whether the something is bothering this kid or not.
Okay, you can give some example कि आपने कभी किसी का ऐसा analyze किया, किसी बच्चे who is going through such bad phase and he has drawn something.
There are like a few examples. One would be, as I said, like अगर कोई बच्चे के फैमिली में डिवोर्स चल रहा है, so then they draw their mother and father far away. या फिर वो तीनों साथ में भी है, तो this child is crying and he's going unnoticed, because जब पेरेंट्स का डिवोर्स चल रहा होता है तो there's so much of volatility happening that they are not able to focus on the kid. So that child starts feeling left out. They start feeling anxious that like, you know, these people are separating. तब मेरा क्या होगा? एंड क्योंकि वो इतने छोटे होते हैं तो वो किसी को एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पाते तो वो बहुत कंफ्यूज रहते हैं, सो द ड्राइंग विल फील वेरी एम्प्टी बिकॉज द फोकस इज ओनली ऑन द पेरेंट्स, देन दे आर नॉट एबल टू फोकस ऑन थिंग्स लाइक माउंटेन्स और सन. बहुत बार अगर किसी बच्चे का अगर डेवलपमेंट समझना है कि how is there any brain development happening, is there any issue with that, so then we see how they have colored within the boxes. Suppose if a child is making a sun, तो अगर वो येलो कलर कर रहा है तो is he able to draw, you know, is he able to color it within the
boundaries? Okay,
basic thing. क्योंकि handwriting is about your sense of control also, drawing, coloring. आप जब कलर भी कर रहे होते हैं, बच्चे कलर करते हैं तो you know grip, वो लोग ग्रिप पकड़ना सीखते हैं, दे लर्न दीज टाइनी थिंग्स, सो उनका मसल डेवलपमेंट उसमें इन्वॉल्व होता है. तो वो सारी चीजें ना, दिस इज पेरिफेरल नर्वस सिस्टम, हाउ इट्स कनेक्टेड टू योर ब्रेन, द सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम, सो कैसे उनका होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है ना, वो पेपर पे बहुत अच्छे से दिखाई देता है.
like this is very scientifically connected everything.
It is now because when you're writing, आपका पूरा ब्रेन एक्टिव होता है, पूरा ब्रेन. आप जो लिख रहे हो, so you know the first thing you're doing is language recall. You're trying to recall a language, so that part of the brain gets activated. Then there is a visuospatial, you know, visuospatial part of your brain, like the visual and the space, because when you're writing, suppose I'm writing my name is Riitu Sachananandanii, my name के बीच का space is Ritu का बीच का space, तो आपका ब्रेन वो सब एनालाइज कर रहा है कितना स्पेस दो वर्ड्स के बीच में छोड़ना है, किस स्पीड से मैं लिख रही हूँ, लाइक यू नो कैसे पूरे पेपर को कैप्चर करना है, ऑर्गेनाइज करना है, लाइक योर memories involved. One is language. Language gives rise to emotions because when we take a handwriting sample, so we ask these people that अपने free flows से ना, आपके mind के free flows से आपको जो लिखना है लिखो. So the things that they are thinking, it evokes emotions. So that part of the brain again gets activated. So there's so many elements involved now. Like when you're touching the pen, तो जो सोमैटो सेंसरी पार्ट है ब्रेन का वो एक्टिव हो जाता है. आप प्रेशर से लिख रहे हो, आपके मसल्स एक्टिव हो रहे हैं, तो आपका पूरा बॉडी एक्टिव रहता है जब आप लिखते हो.
Okay. So in from your conversation you mentioned about controlled drawing. So what is that basically? मतलब controlled drawing.
So as I explained about these kids, like you know, we take drawing if we need to analyze drawings. Like suppose if a person does not know how to write, like a domestic help, any person अगर वो नहीं लिख पाते, so we take a control drawing wherein we give them a blank piece of A4 size paper, and then we give them 6 elements, and these 6 elements are sun, mountains, water body, human being, house. Okay, these are the 6 elements given to them. The way they place the elements, the size of the elements, कौन से चीज को कहाँ है, लेफ्ट साइड पे है तुम्हारा घर, राइट साइड पे है, आपका अगर ट्री है, ओके, सो ट्री कितना बड़ा है, ट्री का कौन से डिटेल्स में आप जा रहे हो, लाइक आर यू शोइंग bark, आर यू शोइंग fruits on the tree, आर यू शोइंग flowers on the tree, does the tree have a fence, what kind of water body are you showing a glass of water, or are you showing an ocean, are you showing a river, आपके रिवर में फिश है, आपके रिवर में सेलर है, कोई स्विम कर रहा है, सन का साइज कितना है, ये सारे चीजें ना, इट्स अ ब्लैंक पीस ऑफ पेपर, हाउ दैट पर्सन is placing all these 6 objects, presenting it, whether it's fitting properly, whether something is more or less. तो वो जो सबसे ज्यादा है तो उसका emphasis उस पे ज्यादा है, जो कम है तो वो उसके लिए इतना important नहीं है, and it's common sense, and that's what we see in the drawing and we analyze.
So this all shapes, the 6 elements you mentioned, वो उसको कुछ identify होता है, मतलब like a sun is very big, but what sun is basically for?
So sun symbolizes energy, vitality. It emphasizes the ability to give, because sun is primary source of energy in the world. So sun को देख के समझ में आता है कि उस इंसान की energy levels कितनी होगी, how does he whether he's able to give, what the energy and excitement with which this person approaches his activities, उसके खुद के body का internal energy समझ में आता है.
Oh wow.
Like house is a place where a person is born. It's home, security, love. So you know what kind of house is it? Has he made a house with a door which is open? Are you welcoming to people, or is it shut? Does your house have windows? Because windows, it's like window to ideas. क्योंकि लाइक खिड़की से आइडियाज आते हैं ना, लाइक आईज आर द विंडोज. So then you understand whether this person has made windows, what kind of drawing is it, किस टाइप का घर है, लेफ्ट में है, राइट में है. ट्री के छोटे छोटे एस्पेक्ट्स हम एनालाइज करते हैं.
So this is like so important in today's time because child is like अगर वो कोई गलत mindset से बढ़ रहा है या he is in disturbance something like today this graphologist and this handwriting analyst and drawing analyst is so important for today's kid. मतलब आज पहले ही इतना सारा stress है, उसमें family का issue होता है, and if a person like you is there to guide a child in the right direction and what is going in his mind without वो बोले बिना you are getting so many things, it's such a great thing.
But I feel personally, because I've done child psychology and I've read a lot on child development. I think more than kids, it's important for parents to learn.
Yeah,
I mean, kids are just kids एक बच्चा ना स्पॉन्ज के तरह होता है. वो जो भी वो सब अब्सॉर्ब करता है. तो वो जो पेरेंट्स सामने कर रहे होते हैं ना अपने हरकतें, वो बच्चा वही देख के वही सीखता है.
वही सब ड्राइंग पे आ जाता है.
हाँ, वही सब ड्राइंग पे आता है. Like if parents are happy, there's peace in the house, everything is going in a very organized manner, so you'll see a very organized picture. The child is happy. अगर वैसा नहीं है तो वो उसका stark difference दिखाई देता है. So it's all about parents, like
Okay. From handwriting, just looking at the handwriting, just looking at how he is writing, उसके भी अलावा what you look into that handwriting जिससे आपको एक इंसान की एक normal young teenager की personality पता चलती है, because in that time that person is so disturbed, that person not disturbed but confused कि मुझे क्या करना है, मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है, like relationship का stuff होता है, बहुत कुछ होता है. तो उस सब में just looking at person's handwriting, just वो कैसे लिख रहा है, उससे पता चलता है कि in that handwriting also something you look into. Like you talk about graphologist, so उसमें कुछ ऐसा कुछ अलग देखते हो क्या?
तो जैसे आपने ग्राफोलॉजी बोला, ग्राफोलॉजी इज एनी ग्राफ and I analyze the graph.
Okay.
And you understand a person's mindset. Now how we use this is it depends कि सामने वाले की क्या problem है. If a person is coming for career counseling, let's just say 13 years is still very young. Usually people come at 15 and a half, 16.
16, 17.
Because there's so much pressure these days. Kids want to know science, commerce, arts.
Yes.
And है इतना pressure है and they are very careful about their future decisions because it's based on the present decision. So career counseling is one aspect. Then the child disturbance that we covered, that is another thing. If any person, because these days people are having a lot of mental issues, both mental disturbances hai, that's another thing. We do compatibility analysis. Suppose there's a guy and a girl and they want to know whether they're compatible. So we have this very funny thing in handwriting analysis. We like कुछ लोग साथ में रह के समझते हैं कि वो साथ में नहीं रह पाते. इससे अच्छा तुम like 1 घंटे में अपनी handwriting analysis करके देख लो कि क्या हमारी साथ में चलने वाली है नहीं. It's like such a quick way of knowing ना कि are we even compatible or not?
So how you understand by looking both of person's handwriting, that girl and that boy का handwriting, से वो लोग एक साथ रह सकते हैं कि नहीं?
So I'll give you an example. See, there are too many aspects because when people come together, they have expectations and they have their own personality and it's unique. It's really unique. So we see that if in a given situation, how are they going to react to that situation? Is it going to be easy or it's going to be really difficult? You take handwriting pressure. There are some people who write with really heavy pressure.
Okay.
तो ये लोगों का attachment level बहुत ज़्यादा होता है because pressure is something कि मैं एक particular point पे उतनी एनर्जी डाल रही हूँ. तो कुछ लोग बहुत हैवी प्रेशर से लिखते हैं तो वो हर चीज ना बहुत इंटेंसिटी, एक्साइटमेंट, जुनून ही उनका अलग होता है लाइफ में. थकते भी नहीं है क्योंकि इतनी बॉडी में एनर्जी है तो वो इतने थक नहीं रहे, बहुत एक्साइटेड रहते हैं. ये करना है वो करना है, उनका अटैचमेंट लेवल बहुत हाई होता है. उसके साथ अगर कोई ऐसा इंसान आ जाए जिसका हैंडराइटिंग प्रेशर बहुत वीक हो, बहुत कम हो और दूसरे पेपर पे भी कुछ आ ही नहीं रहा है ना, आप हाथ घुमाओगे. प्रेशर इज समथिंग व्हिच इज फेल्ट, इट्स नॉट समथिंग यू सी एंड यू अंडरस्टैंड. प्रेशर फील करते हैं हम लोग पेपर का जो इंडेंटेशन होता है.
तो बैक साइड पे जो होता है,
तो बैक साइड पे अगर किसी का प्रेशर है ही नहीं, मतलब प्रेशर इज लो, तो this person again the energy level will be drastically less, the excitement will not be that much. जहाँ पे ये इतना attached है तो वो वहाँ पे उतना ही flexible और easy going कि छोड़ जाने दो ना, क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है. ऐसे दो लोग अगर साथ में आएंगे तो then you know suppose अगर कोई एक चीज एक टॉपिक पे ये झगड़ रहे तो एक इंसान जाने ही नहीं दे पा रहा है, एक इंसान को फर्क ही नहीं पड़ रहा है. So then how एंड इन हैंडराइटिंग कोई भी चीज सिंगुलैरिटी में नहीं देखते, होलिस्टिक देखते हैं. तो हम और चीजें देखते हैं कि अगर जैसे हैंडराइटिंग के स्लांट से समझ में आता है कि इज दिस पर्सन एक्सप्रेसिव और नॉट. लाइक किसी की हैंडराइटिंग राइटवर्ड स्लांट है, आगे की तरफ है, तो बहुत लोग ऐसे झुक के आगे इंटरेस्टेड होके बात करते हैं. फिर किसी की हैंडराइटिंग स्ट्रेट होती है तो वो बहुत डिप्लोमेटिक होते हैं, बहुत सोच समझ के बात करते हैं. एंड देन देयर आर सम पीपल हुज हैंडराइटिंग इज बैकवर्ड. So then you know you'll be like और पता, or you know they'll just be like sitting backward, analyzing, repressed. They are not things. So handwriting में आपको body language भी पता है. अगर मैं किसी की body language देखूंगी तो मुझे उनकी handwriting समझ में आएगी कि हाँ ठीक है, you know ये 2-3 चीजें तो उसकी handwriting में होगी. So if somebody is very expressive, then they come in a relationship with a partner जो एक्सप्रेस ही नहीं करता है. तो उससे फील हो रहा है. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ इमोशन, नॉट अबाउट वेदर यू आर फीलिंग और नॉट. सो देयर इज वन पर्सन हु इज फीलिंग बट दे आर नॉट एक्सप्रेसिंग, एंड सामने वाला इज लाइक यार ये जताता क्यों नहीं है, डू यू इवन वांट टू बी विद मी और नॉट. एंड सामने वाला विल बी क्वाइट, लाइक द रिप्रेस्ड वन इज गोइंग टू बी लाइक बोलूं नहीं बोलूं, समझ जाना चाहिए ना इससे, मतलब इतने टाइम से है तो मैं क्यों बोलूं. एंड द अदर पर्सन इज लाइक ओ बेबी आई लव यू, यू आर सो स्वीट. एंड यू नो द पर्सन हु इज मोर एक्सप्रेसिव, their style of love language is that you also express, right? So then we see aspects whether you know इनका emotional quotient कितना है, understanding क्या है, intelligence level कितना है, what are the things that they are focused towards. Like somebody is more focused towards like intellectual conversations, तो वो उनके handwriting में उनके upper zone से समझ में आता है. उनके जो letters H होंगे, T होंगे, वो थोड़े ऊपर के तरफ होंगे, elongated होंगे. So they are the ones who are going to be thinkers. They like intellectual conversations. Then if this person is with someone who has a middle zone handwriting, like you know जिसकी handwriting देख के ही समझ में आता है, it's more concentrated in the middle zone. So these people would like socializing, बाहर घूमना, like you know बात करना, interact करना. अभी जो इतना intellectual है उसके साथ कोई चप्पड़ करने वाला आ जाए वो इरिटेट हो जाएगा ना. तो ऐसे ऐसे चीजों से कंपैटिबिलिटी समझ में आती है कि एक चीज को ना, एक यू सी वन थिंग in singularity, then you compare it with other things. Like there is someone who will be really dominating and the partner will be submissive, but sometimes it's very good because a submissive person खुद का दिमाग ही नहीं यूज कर रहा है, एक्शन ही नहीं ले रहा है, तो dominating partner फिर उसको थोड़ा आगे धक्का दे देता है that I'm there, just do this. So sometimes things which people will be like, you know, this is so unequal, but no, it's very harmonious to them. It's working. It's helping in their, you know, it's working in their favor. So those are the aspects where you have to be very holistic. We have to be very balanced. Like जब हम handwriting analysis करते हैं तो prejudice या bias नहीं आ सकता. Like बहुत शांत रहना पड़ता है. Like you have to eject out of that person's situation and be like, is this good or not, and be very balanced.
Okay, great. So जैसे you mentioned कि two different personalities, जैसे कि एकदम low energy and high energy. So basically हमेशा ऐसा सुना है कि opposite attracts. So this is not the way, right? This is like in very bad, but it depends on the personalities and understandings of people, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So at the end it is not like कि handwriting से उनकी energies पता चल सकती है, but रहना नहीं रहना उन पे depend करता है.
रहना नहीं रहना मतलब बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट्स ऐसे होते हैं जो माइंड में ना डोमिनेंट होते हैं. लाइक हैंडराइटिंग से ना आपको क्रिमिनल टेंडेंसी दिखाई देगी. Whether a person could be a potential criminal. Let's just take an example of a rapist. Whether he has that repressed sexual frustration that he would want to probably remove it on an opposite sex. That's a dominant behavior. एक्टिव तब होगा जब हम हैंडराइटिंग में देखेंगे कि ये एक्शन लेने की एबिलिटी है कि नहीं है. एक होता है कि थॉट्स हमारे दिमाग में बहुत आते हैं, मैं ऐसे रास्ते पे चलते चलते I'm like you're hot, you're cute this, but it's like I'm not taking action on each and every thought. I'm like, oh, he's really cute, I'm going to go approach him. No, I have like fear. I'm really like nervous, so I'm not going to go approach this person. Then I'll be like, मैंने अगर approach किया वो क्या सोचेगा, तो मेरे अंदर fear है. I'm judging the entire situation. I'm perceiving that, okay, you know, it's not going to work. So I get nervous and then I don't do it. So I had a thought, but I did not implement. I did not take action on it. So there are people who have these criminal tendencies, but whether they're going to act on it or not, we see that.
So that handwriting tells us that person is positive or negative as well.
Yeah.
Because its energy is not just good energy, it's also bad energy.
Energy is always both, right?
Yeah.
You have plus, negative.
Yeah.
So then it's all in like sab hamare andar hi hai. It's just how it, whether it's working in my favor or it's working against me. That's it. There's no right or wrong.
Okay, so now coming to like a corporate world, because I have heard a lot that corporate people जो इतने rich है, millionaires है, billionaires है, वो अपने signature analysis बहुत करते हैं कि उनके जो decisions होते हैं, जो deal crack करने की, उसमें बहुत ग्राफोलॉजिस्ट वाले प्ले करते कि वो सही कर रहे हैं, गलत कर रहे हैं, यहाँ करना चाहिए कि नहीं, कि उनके साइन सही है कि नहीं. बिकॉज आई हैव सीन द लोगो एनालिसिस आल्सो इन दैट. मतलब ये सब कनेक्टेड है कहीं ना कहीं, राइट? सो हाउ इट वर्क्स इन द कॉर्पोरेट एंड हाउ यू पीपल हेल्प दिस बिजनेसमैन?
So see, there are two aspects. Like आप जब भी questions पूछते हो, आप 2-3 साथ में पूछते हो, तो मैं ऐसे break करती हूँ.
Okay, no issues.
So one is signature analysis. That's different. One is how we help corporates. So that comes under HR recruitment. That's different.
Okay.
Third is logo. वो तो एक अलग ही, you know, वो एक अलग ही समुंदर है. That's different.
Okay.
तो
so
मैं
let me be very clear. कि ना, I am a youth sitting here and I have no idea about handwriting analysis. So I am that curious child who's gonna watch this podcast. वो भी बहुत curious होगा कि ये handwriting होता क्या है? Handwriting से कैसे इंसान को? So I am also very curious. So you can break it and you can explain it. No issues.
Okay, so I'll cover signature first.
Yeah.
See, signature is very unique to a person. If I'm analyzing a person holistically, we take handwriting analysis and signature. कोई भी सिर्फ signature analysis करता है ना, it will never give you a holistic picture of a person. A stroke is a stroke, so I can analyze the person. But the holistic picture comes from handwriting. Signature क्या होता है कि मेरी personality है, मेरा नाम रितु सचनंदानी है, so I'm just going to write my name, right? In a specific way. जब signature design करते हैं, you know, when parents are like, we are opening your bank account, okay, make a signature, and everybody is very excited in 9th and 10th, so you spend hours and hours designing. It's very unique to you. Signature आप मतलब आप लिख रहे हो तो आप बैठे बैठे randomly sign नहीं करोगे. Signature is something you are
it is an identity.
It's your identity, but you're putting it on a social document, a public document. आप randomly लिखते लिखते sign तो नहीं करोगे, right? You're putting it at a specific place. It's a public document. It acts as like, you know, your testament to it. So how you're presenting it publicly. So signature is your public image, because signature is not used everywhere. So how are you presenting yourself in a public getup? What part of your ego state you want to put across people? तुम क्या चाहते हो लोग देखे तुम्हारे बारे में, वो तुम selectively signature के through दिखाते हो.
Okay, great. So now the next question was how you use in a corporate, how it helps in the corporate thing.
So बहुत टाइप के signatures होते हैं जो हम analyze करते हैं. Again, there's nothing right or wrong. There's this concept of right or wrong, it's not there.
Okay.
In handwriting analysis, तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. It's always whether it's working in the favor of a person or whether it's not working in the favor of a person. It's as simple as that.
So different for different people.
Yeah, it's different for the different. I would say requirement. It's all requirement based. Because अगर कोई diplomat है, like we have external affairs minister, if he gets like very expressive, you're like चलो तो गया हमारा देश. Like you need someone who is very diplomatic, who's able to assess the situation well. He knows what to talk, where to draw boundary, where to shut up. Like those are the things he's intellectually aware that he needs to have as a personality, because he's the one representing our country. So when we see as his signature, if there are certain elements in the signature, suppose अगर कोई इंसान, suppose if I'm writing Ritu and I make an encircling around it, like you know वो एक circle बना देते हैं, वो covering हो जाती है, तो that's like you're hiding. It's a shell. they're covering certain aspects.
Mhm.
So if he does that, it's okay. I mean, it's completely okay because he doesn't need to express everything to the public.
Hmm.
We don't need to know everything because he's integrating a lot of information at any given point of time and giving us the output. Like
Okay.
if you see Prime Minister Narendra Modi's signature, also he makes an N with a circle. It's encircle.
Hmm.
So yeah, there are certain aspects of him which he needs to keep to himself.
Okay.
And then again, जैसे मेरा नाम Riitu Sachananandanii है. So what part of my signature is getting encircled? Is Ritu getting encircled? Or if I'm making full Sachananandanii, is Sachananandanii getting encircled? So whether I'm encircling things about my personal life or my occupational life,
Okay, great.
so then उससे समझ में आता है कि आपको किस चीज़ की इनसिक्योरिटी है. अगर मैं अपना पर्सनल लाइफ नहीं बताना चाहती हूँ तो मैं गलत नहीं हो जाती हूँ. आई एम सीक्रेटिव. आई डोंट वांट यू टू नो अबाउट माय पर्सनल लाइफ. स्टे अवे बिकॉज इट्स अ पब्लिक गेटअप, राइट? तो पब्लिक में अगर मैं मेरा पर्सनल लाइफ नहीं बताना चाहती इसमें कुछ गलत नहीं है. लाइक हर इंसान को उसके रोल के हिसाब से, उसके ऑक्यूपेशन के हिसाब से व्हाट ही वांट्स टू पोर्ट्रे, व्हाट ही इज कंफर्टेबल इन पोर्ट्रेइंग, इज इट वर्किंग इन हिज फेवर?
Okay, great.
Like there are if you see actors like film stars, if you see their signatures, they are very bold, they are very big. You see Priyanka Chopra Jonas signature, you see Deepika Padukone signature, Shah Rukh Khan signature, Amitabh Bachchan sir signature. They are big, they are massive, they cover like a huge chunk of the space. So you know, they उनको एक public statement create करना है. They are in the public, they are showing themselves. So they, you know, they're capturing that space. They need to show themselves who they are, their expression. So you know, the signatures show their personality.
So when you're guiding someone to make your signature as per their requirements, so what all that are requirements and how you make that changes in the signature, which is very good for that person. मतलब अभी you said कि that's in circle. So he is talking about like उनके personal life या in his professional life. So how in the other ways, how you can tell that person's कि you have to improve this or you want this to get that good business और आपके करियर के लिए अच्छा होगा, ऐसा करो, ऐसा
होता है.
Okay.
But life में कोई quick fix नहीं है. Like you know, a lot of people they've approached me and they're like, you know, ma'am, I want to change my signature, or Ritu, I want to change my signature, please guide me. And I'm like, okay, I will guide you, but I'm not going to design your signature. So there are two types of graphologists. One is they completely change the signature, that ये आप करो, upward direction में signature बनाता, बहुत successful हो जाओगे, नीचे line डाल दो, and success ही success होगा. But mine is a more slower process.
Yeah.
Because एक सिग्नेचर आपने बचपन में बनाया है, आपका एक पैटर्न ऑफ थिंकिंग है, स्टाइल ऑफ लिविंग है, अचानक से तो चेंज नहीं होगा. आप बदलोगे तो यू नो, हैंडराइटिंग बदली है, बचपन से लेके अब तक हैंडराइटिंग बदली है. सो इट्स लाइक इफ यू चेंज द हैंडराइटिंग, you will change. Trust me, you will. Because the handwriting is very unique to you.
Yeah.
So you will change completely if you change your handwriting. But why do you want to change fully? मतलब हर चीज आपके against नहीं है ना.
बराबर.
So first thing is to understand what is it that's not working in your favor. Second is to take time. We give graphotherapy. We make them do certain formations.
Okay,
that you practice this. First you need to understand that this is the aspect of your life that you want to change, because now it's not working for you anymore. So पहले तो you create acceptance in that person. That first you need to accept that this is something you need to change.
Okay.
So we give formations wherein we open up the person to accepting that you need to change. Then we create a new memory, you know, a new pathway, that this is a new renewed perception. कोई भी चीज को देखने के तरीके होते हैं, तो हम essentially बस उस इंसान का तरीका बदल रहे हैं वो चीज को देखने का.
Okay.
तुम पुराना मेमोरी इरेज नहीं कर सकते हो. माइंड इज वेरी वेरी शार्प, वेरी पावरफुल. यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू फॉरगेट अ मेमोरी.
Okay, great.
आई मीन you're the more, in fact कोई बोलेगा ना मैं तो भूल जाता, I'm like कुछ गड़बड़ है. तुम भूल नहीं सकते हो. हमारा जो माइंड है ना, वो एक हार्ड डिस्क की तरह होता है. उसमें सब स्टोर होता है. You just cannot forget anything. Like there are some people who repress it. So again, that repression comes in the handwriting, that okay, this person has had some trauma or some where they're trying to shut that aspect of their life, but you can never forget.
Never forget.
So you're creating a new perception towards it. कि जैसे दृष्टि वैसे सृष्टि.
हाँ,
अब तक मैं लाल चश्मे पहन रही थी तो मुझे दुनिया लाल
लाल
दिख
दिख
रही
रही
थी,
थी।
अब मैं मतलब हरा पहनूंगी तो दुनिया हरी
हरी
दिखेगी
दिखेगी,
ना,
of
आपका
course, of
नजरिया
course.
बदल गया।
सो आई वांटेड टू से कि जब सिग्नेचर किसी का चेंज करना है, मतलब दे वांट देयर सिग्नेचर इन देयर रिक्वायरमेंट कि मुझे करियर वाइज अच्छा चाहिए, मुझे ये बिजनेस अच्छा चाहिए, सो व्हाट रिकमेंडेशंस यू गिव टू देम?
So सबसे पहले we begin with therapy, like by creating acceptance. Again, we need to understand what is the intensity of the problem. कुछ लोगों को जैसे I've seen this one signature, this girl, I told her, I was like, okay, there are a lot of elements in your writing and signature. Have you ever had an instance of sexual abuse? And she's like, yes, I had that once when I was around 9 years. And then she's like, it repeated when I was in college, like, and then she's like, the boyfriend also I feel I am with, he's just, I feel he's there with me, like, for the sexual needs. So intensity पहले समझना है कि कितना आपको प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है। अब ये लड़की, इसने अगर एक एनसर्कल बनाया, so she's trying to protect herself, so you don't remove that circle now all of a sudden and you expose her, because वो uncomfortable हो जाएगी। And then in these signatures we've seen cutting, like there are some people, suppose I write Riya, तो रिया बनाया तो नीचे के वाई को कट कर दिया, so you're cutting an aspect of your life, you're cutting your original thought, because at any given point when you're writing, it's an energy coming on the paper, that energy represents your thought.
Okay.
You're cutting your own thought. So there is like, it creates like a negative charge, it creates a friction in your mind. So first I need to address what is the problem. So first we take, like, it's like peeling an onion. तुम ऐसे ही खोलोगे तो रोने लग जाओगे, तो वो इंसान भी रोने लग जाएगा। तो अगर आप किसी भी इंसान की हैंडराइटिंग को ओवरनाइट चेंज कर दोगे, किसी के भी सिग्नेचर को बदल दोगे, तो वो that person is going to become so uncomfortable, वो मुझे गालियाँ दे देगा, like, कि इससे बेटर तो मैं पहले थी।
Okay.
तो पहले समझना आता है कि what's your problem, what's the intensity of your problem, and then you have to tell that person that, okay, you're not going to get a quick fix, at least not with me. It's going to take minimum 3 months. First you need to have acceptance, because आपका self defense mechanism इतना high है कि आप accept ही नहीं कर पाओगे। तो पहले आपको शांत करना होता है उस इंसान को, फिर देखना होता है कि 3 महीना लगेगा, 6 महीना लगेगा, कि 1 साल लगेगा। Some people are very accepting, they're very open, they're very gung-ho excited. You can actually induce a change with them in 20 days to 1 month. It's that quick, because they are like, I want to know, like, I'm really excited for this.
हिंदी में बोलो तो पंचायत।
हाँ, बहुत excited रहते हैं, उनके साथ बहुत जल्दी वर्क करता है, because that positivity now, it's like negativity spreads, positivity spreads. They are very quick at like adapting and everything. It works really fast with them. So you give them certain therapy formations, then after a point you ask them to come up with a signature by themselves. Like, you give me 4-5 signatures and I will tell you which is working for you. Because एक इंसान का ना एक free flow of writing होता है, तो instead of putting something on them that, okay, you do this, because what happens is that free flow, that spontaneity goes away. So to maintain all those aspects, to maintain that integrity of their own writing, it's like, I ask them that, okay, you give, like, there's a proper therapy involved. Now you come up with 3-4 formations, and then we'll select which one is now working for you.
Great.
And they're able to see that change. Like, I have seen people जिनके लाइफ में बहुत drastic incidents हुए, जिन incidents के basis पे वो बदल गए हैं, और उनका signature overnight बदल गया, and they've like shown me that, like, is this better? And I was like, yeah, dude, it's really good. इसका सबसे best example ये होगा कि आप एक अंधेरे कमरे में हो, एंड बहुत टाइम तक लाइफ में अंधेरा होता है, सबके लाइफ में डिप्रेशन फेज आता है, you're blinded, लेकिन आपने अभी लाइट चालू कर दी तो वो अंधेरा चला गया, लाइट है, तो यू कैन बी लाइक, नहीं, अब मैं देखना ही नहीं चाहता। It's very natural, like when the situation comes to change you and there's light and you're able to see everything clearly and you're ready to change, so that change happens, and now you can see, now you can actually see, and now you want to like take the correct action. So sometimes there are situations in people's life which has been like at a very massive level, which changes them, and overnight उनकी signature में change होती है।
मतलब जो भी लोग कहते हैं कि आप signature से ऊपर बनो तो आप successful हो जाओगे, ऐसा नहीं है, आपकी uniqueness वो आपकी है, it's just that slight changes can make a better thing.
सो इसका ना मैं आपको बहुत अच्छा एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ. जब कोई इंसान सिग्नेचर ऊपर की तरफ कर रहा होता है ना, तो होता ये है दैट आई एम हियर and I want to be here. So my signature is upward. Like I'm not comfortable here and I want to be here. So it's discomfort. अब ये इंसान यहाँ से यहाँ पे आ भी गया, okay? एक पॉइंट पे है, X पे है, Y पे आ गया, तो ये Y है, ये Z है, अभी ये यहीं पे भी खुश नहीं रहने वाला है ना. तो it's discontentment. This person is never gonna be happy.
Okay.
It's always like the chase that, oh, now I have this goal, I've achieved that goal, okay, what's my next goal? Do you want that? If you're very content and all of a sudden you induce this behavior in your writing, so although it makes you very optimistic, people see, it's like a coin has two sides, right? Which side are you on? Is it working for you? अचानक आप like ये trait अपने अंदर डालते हो, and you'll be like, and then it creates a lot of stress also because it makes you optimistic, it makes you energetic, but is your body able to handle it? So we see that in the pressure, because जैसे मैं आपको starting में बोला, pressure से समझ में आता है कि उस इंसान के energy levels क्या है, the intensity with which he is working. तो अगर तुमने डायरेक्शन बदल दिया, इसके पास एनर्जी नहीं है, काम ही नहीं कर सकेगा, तो वो
डेफिनेटली
वो इरिटेट हो जाएगा.
व्हाट यू सेड ना, अभी आपने जो कहा कि ये सिग्नेचर जैसे ऊपर, सो पर्सन लाइक मी, अगर मैं ऐसा ऊपर सिग्नेचर को, तो डेफिनेटली कि मुझे हमेशा मैं जब भी सिग्नेचर देखूंगा, अरे मैं कुछ कर रहा हूँ कि नहीं, मैं कुछ कर रहा हूँ कि नहीं लाइफ में, तो दिस बिकम लाइक अ माइंडसेट. बट किसी को खुश है जहाँ है वो, where he is happy, so he doesn't have to write unnecessary ऊपर, लेकिन मतलब नहीं है, so it become like pressurizing. अरे मुझे लग रहा है मैं गलत हूँ, बट एट द टाइम आई एम हैप्पी ओवर दैट, बट जस्ट सिग्नेचर्स एंड हैंडराइटिंग को ऐसा ऊपर लिखने लगेंगे, अचानक से कोई बोलने से जस्ट सक्सेसफुल हो जाओगे, दैट इज लाइक
वही है ना, क्विक फिक्स नहीं है लाइफ में. इट्स अबाउट so sometimes what happens is, if you want to change that direction, we give therapy with upward direction in lines. जैसे बच्चों के वो लाइंस के बुक्स होते हैं, हम वैसे थेरेपी देते हैं, बट देन यू नो वी मॉनिटर that what are your 24 hours ka activity from suppose if you're working 10 hours, has your efficiency improved, what are you doing? I need to be 100% involved in this person's life, that it's a proper counseling. बस मैंने तुम्हारा direction change कर दिया, life perfect होगी, नहीं होता है. You know, there's a lot of you become very conscious because you're advising someone. That advice changes that person's life. So on a very conscious level, you can't take it very lightly.
This profession is same like a doctor. डॉक्टर भी अगर आपको कोई दवाई बिना आपको पूछे नहीं देगा, आपको क्या हो रहा है, आपको क्यों हो रहा है, आपने क्या खाया है, everything he'll get a detail, then he'll come to a conclusion.
Exactly. So
same thing it is.
We always ask that, okay, what's your problem? अभी कोई मेरे पास हैंडराइटिंग आके बोलेगा आप मेरी प्रॉब्लम बता, तो मैं क्या करूँगी? आप बताओ आपकी प्रॉब्लम क्या है, मैं हैंडराइटिंग में आपको सोल्यूशन बताऊंगी. आप डॉक्टर के पास तो नहीं जाओगे ना बोल के कि डॉक्टर बता मुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम है, मेरे हार्ट में कोई प्रॉब्लम है क्या, और डॉक्टर बोलेगा तुम मेंटल हॉस्पिटल जाओ, मेरा क्लिनिक, आई एम अ जनरल प्रैक्टिशनर, माय प्लेस इज नॉट फॉर यू.
या ग्रेट. So now coming, see, your conversation was, you mentioned women. So from handwriting analysis, how you understand the women issues, because that's the very big thing. And आज like somewhere the society is somewhere becoming good for the women, but somewhere there is a big drawback कि वो लोग बहुत mental stress में हैं. So how you bring out that their problems through handwriting?
Okay, this is something very personal to me. Okay. Because I had shifted to Pune around 4.5-5 years back. I've always wanted to do a research in handwriting. Like handwriting के through हम diseases भी analyze करते हैं.
Oh yeah.
Like there are a lot of strokes in the writing, pen flicks, pressure, light pressure. Suppose pressure से एक इंसान का blood flow भी समझ में आता है.
Oh.
तो आप जब लिख रहे हो, take for an example, if you're writing letter Y, so Y जब आप नीचे जाता है तो प्रेशर हैवी है, फिर जब आप लिफ्ट कर रहे हो तो लाइट होता है. तो जो मसल मूवमेंट्स है, आपका जो ब्लड फ्लो है बॉडी का, उसका जो रिदम है वो पेपर पे आता है. तो हैंडराइटिंग के बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट्स को एनालाइज करके हम हेल्थ भी चेक करते हैं कि इज दिस पर्सन हेल्दी, इज ही सफरिंग फ्रॉम एनी इशू, is there any disease? Disease is like a state of unease. If you're at ease, you're okay. If you're at unease, you have a disease.
Okay.
Now, I went to Pune and I did this research on handwriting analysis, and we were correlating it with PCOS and PCOD. So PCOD stands for polycystic ovarian disorder, and 1 out of 10 women have this issue. जब मैंने रिसर्च चालू किया था तो मुझे कोई आइडिया नहीं था इसके बारे में, बिकॉज अगर आपको कोई तकलीफ नहीं होती है तो आप थोड़ी ना उसके बारे में आपको जब तक कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती है तो आपको नहीं पता होता है. And जब मैंने रिसर्च करना चालू किया, I spoke with a lot of people that which topic should I be focusing on, what is it about. So I was speaking with a lot of gynecologists and obstetricians, and they were like, focus on PCOD because it's a very common disorder. It's a hormonal issue which girls start facing from reproductive age. Like periods is something which starts from 12 and a half, 13.
Okay.
तो ये एज से ना देयर आर women, they a normal period cycle is something which happens monthly. Like monthly an egg is released. If it's not ovulated, then the woman goes through periods. Like there's a blood flow. तो इन women में क्या होता है कि उनको normal period cycle नहीं होते. Like some people have issues that for 3 months at a stretch they are not getting periods. Now what a normal period cycle does is it balances all the hormones in your body. तो अगर आपको 3 महीने तक periods नहीं आ रहे, so imagine the kind of hormonal imbalances happening, and then the medicines which they get, they are very powerful. So you know those medicines again they are affecting your blood flow, the bloodstream. तो बहुत डिप्रेस कर देते हैं, क्योंकि मैंने बहुत लेडीज़ को ना, आई हैड कलेक्टेड माई सैम्पल कलेक्शन फॉर द रिसर्च वॉज 300 सैम्पल्स, एंड आई हैड इंटरव्यूड 30 women in depth. Like it was a very 1 hour long interview with women who had PCOS to understand what is their thoughts, because as I said, handwriting is your thoughts coming on the paper. So I used to sit, understand what are the thought patterns, उनका childhood कैसा था, because at the end of the day my perceptions are driven by my childhood, what my parents taught me, how I'm exposed to the society, what were my experiences while growing up. So we did that. So PCOS is one such topic which we covered, and it taught me a lot. The beginning point of the problem with this was stress due to unnecessary responsibilities. Like one of the things which we had seen in the women was that very very independent, very driven, very hard-working women, but the amount of stress they take. So when a person takes a lot of stress, there's an immense amount of cortisol released in the body. Like तो adrenal glands पे pressure आता है, और जब इतना सारा कॉर्टिसोल बॉडी में रिलीज होता है तो वेट गेन होने के चांसेस होते हैं अगर आपका फिजिकल एक्टिविटी नहीं है. एक चीज़ हमने ये विमेन में ऑब्जर्व किया था कि इनका लाइफस्टाइल बहुत सेडेंट्री है. ऑफ कोर्स अगर आप इतने घंटे काम कर रहे हो, यू ना आजकल ऑफिस में 12 घंटे काम होता है, 14 घंटे काम होता है, उसका स्ट्रेस अलग से, आपकी पर्सनल लाइफ मेंटेन नहीं हो पा रही है, एक्सरसाइज नहीं हो रहा है, यू आर नॉट गेटिंग एडिक्वेट अमाउंट ऑफ विटामिन डी एक्सपोजर, व्हिच इज अगेन रिलीजिंग the apt amount of minerals in your body. So there's so much of irregularity happening. So you're bound to fall ill.
Yeah.
So then that stress is a beginning point. But what are the factors which is triggering the stress? So we were analyzing those aspects.
Okay.
Like, you know, I personally observed very high level of anxiety in the women, like a different sort of fear. We saw one thing I've observed was cutting in signature.
Okay.
So whenever they would sign, there's cutting in the signature. So there's an innate, a subconscious insecurity, क्योंकि आपने कुछ लिखा है आप उसको कट कर रहे हो, तो वो कटिंग हॉर्मोन्स को भी इम्पैक्ट करता है. Because you're signing, so your hormonal flow is coming on the paper. Like we can see your blood flow, you're cutting it. So that shows like a negative charge in the mind. It shows stress, that there is that much amount of stress that you're cutting your own thought. So what is the overpowering नेगेटिव थॉट विच इज मेकिंग यू डू दैट? क्योंकि अगर आप कोई चीज लिख रहे हो फिर उसको स्क्रिबल कर रहे हो, तो स्क्रिबल क्यों किया? एक कट कर सकते थे ना, पर कुछ लोग स्क्रिबल करते हैं बिकॉज यू आर हाइडिंग. सो इफ यू आर कटिंग सम एस्पेक्ट आल्सो, व्हाट वाज द प्रेसिडेंस बिहाइंड इट, व्हाट मेड यू डू दैट? तो वो चीजें मैंने एनालाइज की थी. आई एम आल्सो वुमन, सो मैं जो डॉक्टर के साथ सीख रही थी ना, शी इज अ गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, एंड she's associated with Indian Medical Association and very experienced lady. So this lady was like, तुम ना सबसे पहले ना जाके लाइक सीखो कि नॉर्मल रिप्रोडक्टिव साइकिल कैसे काम करता है, मैं तुम्हारा टेस्ट लूंगी. एंड एट वन पॉइंट आई वाज लाइक, डूड व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन माय लाइफ, मैं बायोलॉजी सीख रही हूँ. एंड एट दैट पॉइंट आई स्टार्टेड लाइक यू नो रीडिंग ऑन हार्मोन्स, हाउ अ नॉर्मल पीरियड साइकिल इज वर्किंग. आई स्टार्टेड अंडरस्टैंडिंग माय ओन बॉडी बिकॉज आई एम फ्रॉम अ कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड. कम ऑन, लाइक आई अंडरस्टैंड figures like financial statements यार, यहाँ बैठ के मैं hormones पढ़ रही हूँ. and I was like okay ठीक है. So it was a very enlightening time for me because मुझे नहीं पता था कि मेरे body में at any given point of time इतने सारे chemicals release हो रहे थे, hormones release हो रहे, तो मैंने बहुत सीखा. पता है मैंने वो जो because I've worked in an MNC before, I've had my own share of 14-15 hours per day work, and I've dealt with a lot of stress. So when I would analyze these women, I would check their handwriting, because we had defined an age bracket of 18 to 35 in metro cities like Mumbai and Pune, and educational background was also parameters, because you try to, in a research, you're having a lot of common factors, like you're trying to see that the sample set is as common. So I would analyze these women, and I was like, okay, you know, there's something that's troubling her, like, you know, how to work so hard that, you know, something like this can help people, that they can understand themselves better, they can understand how the body is working. We are we have a feminine side, we are women, we are working, so how you can enjoy your own life, because sometimes स्ट्रेस तब होता है जब वो चीज़ आपको बहुत बॉदर कर रही होती है. लाइक एक होता है आप इंजॉय कर रहे हो तो वो फिर स्ट्रेस नहीं लगता है, बट एट वन पॉइंट इट गेट्स रियली बर्डनसम. सो हाउ टू यू नो चैनलाइज योर एनर्जी एट दैट पॉइंट. At that point you have to know yourself very well that what is triggering you. Unfortunately इतना प्रेशर है कि एक इंसान के पास, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, वक्त नहीं है खुद के लिए कि वो खुद को समझ सके कि मुझे एट द एंड ऑफ द डे बॉदर क्या कर रहा है. तो बहुत सीखने मिला था वो रिसर्च से. एंड इट्स लाइक दैट इज समथिंग आई हैड रिसेंटली सबमिटेड एट अ कन्वेंशन. सो it's going to be published soon, so I'm very excited about that. And in my own personal pursuit, if I could help someone, like, you know, understanding aspects of the issue like PCOD, so yeah, it'll be nice.
Recently I heard that you got some award, right? So that is the place?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can just tell in a brief what was that place, what was that award, and why you got that.
Okay, ऐसे मैं खुद की तारीफ कैसे करूँ?
But it is good ना यार कि you have submitted something, and for that you have gotten you have. So just give us brief ना.
So I had attended 14th National Women's Science Congress. So this is a convention which was held in Bangalore, and there were 100 plus women. And each one of them, they are researchers, students doing PhD, and there were like scientists, and each one of us had, there were 12 themes, and each lady presented her paper in a specific theme. So I submitted my paper on handwriting formations and PCOS and linguistic sciences.
Oh, wow.
And that paper, you know, it was like an intense submission, and I got an award. Like, I got a Young Scientist Award in that segment. And the paper will be published soon, so once it's done, I'll like put it up on like a public platform where people can read about PCOD, what are the formations that the handwriting samples that I analyzed. I had extrapolated all the data on Excel and, you know, analyzed that what is the common factors, what are the formations which is highly repetitive in the samples. So if a lady, like, she reads it and if she would like to, you know, approach me on Instagram also, that, you know, if you can help me with this, I would love to do that, like anything, because when I started the research, it was purely for the social aspect of it, and that went well. And I think what I received as a part of it was like a lot of learning, meeting people, seeing the kind of issues they face, because जब हार्मोनल इशू होता है, सपोज अगर आपको एक दिन आप बीमार हो और आप बीमार हो और आप कितने चिड़चिड़े होते हैं. अभी सोचो आप 3 महीना कंटिन्यूस बीमार हो, यू नो, इफ योर हार्मोन्स आर नॉट वर्किंग वेल, लाइक, यू नो, द डेज यू आर अपसेट, you know, your hormones are also down, that's why you're upset. So imagine if someone is facing that problem on a monthly cycle. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So then, you become very compassionate. You become a little vigilant also, that, okay, I want to take my workout very seriously. I want to take my food very seriously, because this is my body. I love it. It's going to support me till the end. So
Yeah.
what do I do now to get the outcome in future, like,
Yeah.
so that I'm at ease.
So, like, audience might not know, but you are, I think I did not mention this, but you're author as well.
Yeah.
Right? You have written a book. So just tell me about your book and what was the experience. That's the one book you have written, right?
Yeah.
So what was your experience while writing, and what is that book, like in complete brief, which can make us more curious to read that book?
So my book's name is Raising Reflection.
Okay.
It's on child development and parenting.
Wow.
So again, there's like a personal aspect involved in it. मैं जब छोटी थी तो my sibling and I, we have an age gap of 10 years.
Oh.
तो मैं बहुत I mean, I'll be very honest over here. I've grown up with a lot of complexes because my sister is 10 years elder to me, so she was already doing a lot of things and
Okay.
I couldn't do it. So my mom is like, ये तो तुम्हारी बहन कर सकती है, ये तो तुम्हें आना चाहिए. And I'm like, हाँ आना तो चाहिए, बट वो टाइम पे मैं छोटी थी तो मुझे नहीं पता था ना कि यार मुझे कैसे आएगा, मैं तो छोटी हूँ, ये तो मुझसे 10 साल बड़ी है, तो ये तो ऑब्वियसली कर ही पाएगी. एंड since we have an age gap of 10 years, so I have a lot of cousins also who are elder to me, and cousins भी भाई बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है, लाइक एक डॉक्टर है, एक IITN है, लाइक कोई इंजीनियरिंग कर रहा है. तो आई एम जस्ट लाइक seeing like all of them doing so much, and they're like, ये भी तुम्हें आना चाहिए, वो भी तुम्हें आना चाहिए. So you're constantly compared, and it makes you very I feel that at times when I was dealing with anxiety, that am I good enough, or am I
Self-doubt.
worthy? Yeah, I used to have self-doubt. I'm like, am I worthy of this? Like, Didu is so good, she does this, इनको तो सब कुछ आता है, ये तो मम्मा को like खाने में भी help करती है, she's a runner also, she's so good at studies, I'm like, she does everything, I don't know. You get pressurized.
Yeah.
And I mean, parents want the best for their kids, but ये उनको नहीं पता ना कि क्या तरीका होता है. Like, because I have sat a lot with myself, I've done like a lot of inner counseling to myself, and I was like, okay, face the situation, you have this, how to change this about you, because I don't want to be anxious for the rest of my life. I'm like, कभी नहीं आता. Like, now I'm at a stage and I'm like, नहीं आ रहा मुझे, I'm okay with मुझे नहीं आता. So I went back and I did like, try to understand my mother's parenting.
Perfect.
कि मतलब भाई ये मुझे compare करती क्यों है. And then I realized she's grown up in an environment where she was growing up with 5 kids. और मेरी नानी भी सबको compare करती थी, तो मेरी मम्मी सबको compare करती है. तो it's like it's a chain.
Yeah.
If you need to break the chain, because like, let's just say if I have kids in future, do I have to compare my kid? I have to break the chain, right? To break the chain, I have to be aware that I am facing this problem and I'm not comfortable with the problem. You have to accept yourself कि I'm good at this and I'm not good at this. Let me focus on what I'm good at, because I cannot be good at everything. So that process made me very aware of myself. Again, I sat with a lot of doctors to write when I was writing the book. So I did a lot of research. I had my mentor, I had my mentor, Mr. Milind Rajoure. He was there to guide me. He's guided me so much, like gem of a person. He's a graphologist also. So he was under whose guidance I learned PCOS and PCOD, like when I had gone to Pune. So he helped me understand child development, parenting, psychology. Again, I was going through counseling also at that point. So there was a counselor, Dr. Sujata Patel. So she was the gynecologist who helped me with PCOS. And then from a doctor, she's become a counselor. So she had sat me down, she genuinely explained like 30-40 cases of kids with me. She showed me their writing, she showed me the drawings. She went through each and every chapter with me. Like the chapter ranges from birth till like, minor topics like, how kids are pressurized for marks. मोबाइल फोन्स का क्या प्रेशर हो रहा है बच्चों पे, पेरेंट्स इतना स्ट्रेस लेता है क्योंकि आजकल बच्चों को सब चाहिए, मुझे ये टॉय चाहिए, मुझे वो कपड़े चाहिए, मुझे ये चाहिए. पेरेंट्स भी स्ट्रेस में आ जाते हैं, तो बहुत पेरेंट्स झूठ बोलते हैं.
Okay.
that like ये हम तुम्हें अगले महीने लेके देंगे, तो वो नहीं लेके देने वाले हैं. So the idea is to be very honest with your kids, क्योंकि समझ जाएगा, वो नाराज होगा, एक दिन रोएगा, दूसरे दिन रोएगा, तीसरे दिन तो नहीं रोएगा ना, like
Wow.
मतलब instead of like
you'll not have hope कि आने वाला है. That becomes like a heartbreak if they don't get.
बच्चे के लिए एक्चुअली पता है क्या होता है, वो अपने पेरेंट्स को ना बहुत ट्रस्ट करते हैं.
हाँ.
तो ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम ना वो ट्रस्ट चला जाता है. वो फिर अपने पेरेंट्स को ना यकीन नहीं करते. एक बहुत छोटा एग्जांपल होता है कि एक छोटा बच्चा है, वो अपने फादर के साथ है, वो फादर फोन पे एक सेल्समैन बोल रहा है कि salesman is trying to sell something, and the father's like, no, I'm in a meeting right now, and he's just sitting and watching TV. Now this child is a sponge, as I said. He's absorbing. So he's like, अच्छा ये झूठ बोल रहे हैं, तो झूठ बोलना नॉर्मल होता है.
Okay, great.
मतलब मेरा बाप झूठ बोल सकता है, तो मैं भी तो बोल सकता हूँ. तो मैंने अगर बोल दिया झूठ, तो उसमें गलत क्या किया मैंने? तो बहुत बार द आइडिया इज कि आप अगर आपके बच्चों से कुछ एक्सपेक्ट करते हो तो पहले खुद तो करो. सो इट्स नॉट अबाउट रेजिंग द किड, इट्स अबाउट रेजिंग योर इनर एनर्जी एंड योर कॉन्शियस, दैट इफ यू वांट समथिंग फ्रॉम योर फ्यूचर, you need to change. Like if you want like मेरे बच्चे को ना 100 out of 100 आना चाहिए, तो तुम्हें आता था? आपको कभी 100 out of 100 आया है? That you're expecting that out of your kid. How dare you have that expectation out of your kid? Then if this child is studying, and if you need 100 out of 100, you need to study 5 to 6 hours. So are you doing an activity like cooking 5-6 hours continuously, or are you making a project at a stretch for 5-6 hours? So how can you have that expectation from like a child of 12-13 years? And you're pressurizing him कि तुम पढ़ाई नहीं करते हो, without paying attention that okay, your child is maybe a swimmer, your child is maybe like a good at drawing, like you are not focusing on what's the kid good for.
In a basic way, it is like a child should also understand the parent's situation, parents should also understand the child's situation.
देखो बच्चा पेरेंट्स की सिचुएशन नहीं समझ सकेगा,
but you, as you said, कि when you start understanding that why your mother is like
but that
comparing.
is something I realized when I became an adult, because I wanted to change as a person. I was like okay, when you analyze so many people ना, तो आप बहुत open हो जाते हो, like आप बहुत you start becoming very open to your own flaws also, that I have this flaw and now I'm okay with it, like I can't run away from my flaw. Because when we did handwriting analysis, so what our sir did was, when I had studied this, it was a 3-month course, and on the first day they took our handwriting sample. They like पहले आप लोग लिखो और फिर हम आपका सैंपल ले लेंगे. तो मुझे लगा लेंगे, एनालाइज करके बताएंगे कि मतलब what are the XY things about me, and I was like cool. So the first day, the first 30 minutes, all students were preparing their handwriting sample, and we gave it away. The last day we had our exam. Like it was the exam date, and they gave us our handwriting samples only. And by the last day, I had a very fair idea of handwriting analysis. Is basically, it's an art also. It's like marketing. Marketing के concepts आप सीख लेते हो, पर हर इंसान एक अच्छा मार्केटर नहीं होता, वो स्किल सेट होता है. तो आप जब बहुत लोगों के हैंडराइटिंग सैंपल्स एनालाइज करते हो तो आपका स्किल सेट होता है. फिर मैं नींद से जब किसी का देखूंगी तो मुझे समझ आ जाएगा. तो जब मैं खुद का हैंडराइटिंग सैंपल देख रही थी ना, तो दैट सर वाज लाइक योर हैंडराइटिंग इज अ मिरर इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. फर्स्ट यू एनालाइज योरसेल्फ, डोंट गो एंड एनालाइज एनीबॉडी एल्स आउटसाइड. पहले तुम खुद को एनालाइज करो, खुद के बारे में जानो कि तुम हो कौन. और जब मैंने खुद की हैंडराइटिंग देखी ना, मुझे मैं नहीं अच्छी लग रही हूँ. मुझे मैं बिल्कुल अच्छी, बिकॉज मेरा जो एक्चुअल रियल ईगो स्टेट है, आई वाज सीइंग इट द वे इट इज, लाइक you're seeing it things as is, and I'm like okay shit, I'm not liking myself at all. Like I realized I have anger issues, I have like rebellious issues, and I was like okay, like the problem is not my parents, the problem is my perception. जैसे मैंने आपको बोला, जैसे दृष्टि वैसे सृष्टि. ये प्रॉब्लम मेरी दृष्टि में है, और इसको बदलने की मुझे सख्त जरूरत है. तो मैं बहुत ओपन हो गई थी बदलने के लिए. Then when you start analyzing different people, you meet so many people, then you become more and more open that okay, I'm okay the way I am, like it's fine, like I'll figure it out. Then you're in a very open state of figuring. So when I was when you're adulting and then you want things to be okay with your parents because you're like यार माँ बाप ही होते हैं, like मतलब दुनिया वाले
So
एक
because
तरफ.
in a previous conversation with some other guest, ये कॉन्वर्जेशन हुई थी कि ना पेरेंट्स को हमेशा मिसजज किया जाता है, कि हमेशा गलत लिया जाता है. वो तो आपके बारे में अच्छा ही सोच रहे हैं, सिर्फ वो अपना एक्सपीरियंस लेके आते हैं. दैट इज द डिफरेंस.
Correct.
Right.
So in an adulting phase, I realized that okay, I love my parents. Thank you for what you did for me.
Yeah.
Like the idea is that you attract these situations and you have to go beyond those situations.
Okay.
Like there's this one thing that there was this at this convention that I attended in Bangalore where I got the award. So there was a DRDO scientist. She was she was a guest speaker.
Oh, wow.
And like वो कह रही थी कि पता है लाइफ में ना प्रॉब्लम्स बहुत बड़े रखा करो. लाइक लाइफ के प्रॉब्लम्स इतने बड़े रखो कि छोटे प्रॉब्लम्स ना तुम्हें प्रॉब्लम्स ही नहीं लगेंगे, वो आएंगे जाएंगे और तुम्हें पता भी नहीं चलेगा क्योंकि तुम्हारे लाइफ के प्रॉब्लम्स उतने बड़े थे that your focus was on bigger things in life.
Wow.
So that was like a very good thing I learned this week, and it just stuck with me.
And that a DRDO person can only say because his experience.
Yeah, because she's dealing with such big issues in life that even she's like, yeah, घर के problems नहीं होते. Like, learn to respect things, learn to accept things the way they are. And she's like, when she was talking about an invention which they had done. I can't disclose that, but she's like, when we started that, there were people who called us stupid. And she's like, if you're in the process of being a researcher or a scientist, for the first 10 years of your life, you're going to be called stupid. Are you going to let that affect you? When your focus is so big in life, how can you let people affect you? So she's like, problems ना फिर तुम्हें problems नहीं लगेंगे life में. फिर तुम्हारा problem, तुम्हारा जो तुमने problem statement खुद के लिए define किया है ना, that is going to be the only problem.
Wow.
Let people come and tell you whatever they want to tell you.
Wow. The same thing I also tell about in my reels and all lot of things. कि your vision should be big. If your vision is big, now you're focused on that. तो नीचे की सारी चीज़ you can accept it or you don't change it, but ठीक है. But when your focus is on a small things, तो छोटी चीज़ irritate करती रहती है, and that becomes like so much. Your personal relationship gets affected, your life gets affected because of that. If your problem is big, and if your problem or your vision is big, basically I say vision. The DRDO person is more experienced than me, definitely. So
vision, challenge, problem statement, आप कुछ भी ले लो.
हाँ. So great. So आज बहुत कुछ सीखने मिला रितु. Thank you so much for coming on the show, coming on Positive Talks. और आज सारे जो भी audience देखेंगे ना, they will be like, there's so much things, handwriting analysis, and I would really recommend a lot of parents that handwriting analysis, signature analysis, and drawing analysis, ये सब बच्चों को करवाना चाहिए, बच्चों के लिए करना चाहिए, जो उन्हें पता लगेगा कि उनके चाइल्ड की ग्रोथ कैसे हो रही है. दैट इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज बचपन में इतना कुछ ग्रास्पिंग पावर इतना अच्छा होता है, जैसे यू सेड स्पंज, दे आर रेडी टू टेक एवरीथिंग.
करेक्ट.
सो वो टाइम में दे गेट द राइट डायरेक्शन, देन देयर ग्रोथ एंड देयर माइंडसेट आल्सो बिकम्स सो गुड. सो डेफिनेटली ग्राफोलॉजिस्ट को रेकमेंड करना चाहिए लोगों को. And thank you for coming, thank you for making this conversation so positive. And at the end, every time I say कि let's take India to a positive way. So thank you so much for helping me in that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.